Welcome to Ask Sue London. This is the show that helps people and pets cope, heal, and move forward. I'm your host, Sue London. Now, on this show, what happens is that your angels will guide me with what each week's topic is going to be. And on the topic of the show today, it's all about finding love. Now, if you've got questions that you want to ask me in advance of each segment or episode, I want you to go in the description below and you'll see the link where you can send your questions in advance and ask me questions about, if you want a message from your pet or your loved one or your angels, and I will address those on upcoming shows. So make sure you read the details below for all these links I'm going to be sharing. Now, like I mentioned, our show today is amazing. And on this show, the angels have guided me that I am to talk about love. This is a show all about love. Now, many of you have asked me the question, and I'm going to read it here. How did you go from being in abusive relationships with parents and then a first husband to attracting a wonderful man in your life? Now, I mentioned to you, our topic is finding love, and I'm going to share in this episode what I had to do to take myself from a place of going through physical and emotional and mental abuse to having the situations unfold with a practice husband, I call him, to attracting Mr. Right, a beautiful soul that actually this week we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. So let's get started, and it is recorded. So remember, you don't have to take notes. You can watch this over and over again. Okay, so let me start from the beginning. So when I grew up as an only child, I was physically and emotionally abused by my parents. I was never told that I was loved. My support in my life was my dog, my childhood dog Spot, and my grandpa Buck. That's all I had in my life. And when I was feeling fear or scared or, any like emotions that were not good, I would cling to my childhood dog Spot, and she got me through a lot of stuff. Then as I was growing up, I was beaten up by girls after school in grade 8 for every day for a year. I was a people pleaser. I thought by always saying yes to people and being a people pleaser that people would like me, that I would have more friends, and I wouldn't be harmed. Now I'm going through, I have gone through a lot of abuse in my life. I do not accept that anymore. I have learned to say no, and I've cleared the negative emotionally abusers out of my life. If you are watching this episode today and you are going through a form of abuse, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or whatever you are experiencing, I want you to hear it out of my mouth. You do not deserve it. You are an amazing, incredible person. You are so deserving of love, support, and abundance, and a great group of people around you that are loving and supportive and just want to hug you and tell you how amazing you are, just like I am right now. So if you're in a situation, I can tell you that you're going to hear about what I went through. And I want you to take comfort and strength from this because, yes, it's hard to make changes when you're in abusive situations. But I can tell you that there is a better life waiting for you. There are people and support groups out there to help you. So I want to encourage you to do some of these steps I'm telling you to use as an example for you, what I did, and reach out to the people that are trained in connecting you to the right people in that for changing your life. Okay. So please know you're an amazing person and you do not have to go through this. It is not your fault. That was one of the biggest things that I thought I was to blame for everything that was happening. And it took me a long time to get past that and to heal that. So please know out of my mouth to yours, you do not have to accept this. Okay, so now me share this story. When I went through a lot of abuse, I was a doormat and I was a people pleaser. That brought me pain, exhaustion, and a really low level of lack of confidence. I got married when I was 21. I married the boy out of high school. We went together for a few years, and it was just the thing to do. I can honestly look back and tell you, I didn't know what love was at that time, and I just thought that was the thing to do. I can say to you that the lessons I learned from this man are valuable, and I thank him for the lessons I've learned. It was a very big growing experience for me. And to go through things like that and be able to say that you have to forgive yourself for things that happen, but it's not healthy to hold on to stuff, negativity, or relive a situation over and over. You need to heal. Now, often people will say that girls will marry their fathers, and I did. My first husband, I call him my practice husband because I learned so much. He was like my father. We were married for 16 years. And after my intestine burst, when I had the second near death experience, it was in August of 1996. I was in the hospital for a few months and I came home. My husband had not visited me once in the whole time that I was in the hospital. I had learned when I came home that from my 8-year-old daughter that daddy had a girlfriend, and that changed everything for me. And I think because I went through a near death experience and I learned that what love really is and joy and peace, and to see how life is so short, it taught me that we don't need to just accept bad stuff in our life. We can change it. Yes, it takes courage. And yes, it takes strength. But there are people to support you and to love you and to have the life that I have today and to go from where I came from. I'm just so grateful and blessed that I learned what it is like to, be able to have these abilities, and that the right people showed up at the right time to help me with what I needed. Now, so what I did, I learned what I learned about this man. I showed him the door. When he left, he'd taken both our vehicles. I was a single parent now with a 3-year-old and an 8-year-old, and there wasn't a bag of milk in the fridge. And I was penniless, no money. So my first step, what I did was that I had to start figuring out how was I going to move forward. Okay, so here's my first step. I sat down and I thought, I'm going to drive myself nuts if I worry, because worry never does anything for us. I learned that one. It can bring on disease if you're not careful, like it did in me. And I certainly was not going to go that route ever again in my life. And interestingly, my doctors, my specialists that I was working with Crohn's disease, wrote on my file, the stress is gone, the disease will be gone. And the disease was gone. And they said I had 1% chance of it ever coming back because I would never have to deal with stress that again, because I had changed my life so crazy amount difference day and night. So what I did, I sat down and I started to ask God to bring me strength. I asked God to bring me money to help to pay bills and to buy food for my children, and help me to have the courage to be a single parent and know what I'm supposed to do and handle this. This was a new path that I was going down. I was going to be a parent by myself. It scared the heck out of me. But I learned that when I had the near-death experience, that everything happens to us for a reason. Everything that we need comes to us when we ask. And if it doesn't come, it's not meant for us. So when we have a trust in God and his angels, our loved ones on the other side, our pets, your life and your energy and things that will happen to you will change. So the first thing is I want to suggest to you is to start to pray. Pray to God, pray to your angels, your loved ones, your pets. If you do not believe in God, but you have like another religion, then pray to them. Okay. I was never a prayer until I had that near death experience and learned that there is other beings there. And when Jesus met me there with my grandpa back, that was huge. So great confirmation for me, right? Now, the next step I wanted to suggest to you is that somebody had suggested me that what I was going through next was I wasn't trusting myself. And I was asking everybody else what I should be doing in my life. How do I do this? And what's the right answer? And how do I make these decisions? I wasn't trusting myself. So this friend and my abilities that I have now, I've had them all my life, but I'd shut them down because the stress level was so high. So what she had suggested was to get oracle cards, angel cards. Have you ever heard of them? They come in a box like this. I'm not suggesting these ones, but you can go online and see them. Basically, they're cards. And what you do is you shuffle the deck and you ask the angels to provide you with what you need to know for today. Okay. So I would sit first thing in the morning, I would say, okay, help me to understand, like, what do I need to do today? So I would shuffle the deck and then a card would stick up, like say this card was up or these cards are like that. I would pull the card. So the card that I drew was exercise. Now I would read the card saying exercise. I thought, okay, I don't have time for this. So I put it back in the deck and I want you to know, swear to God, no lies. This is a fact. I got the card every day for 30 days. Bit of a stubborn person, would you say? I was Sagittarius, very strong. I like the word strong-willed. Anyways, I got the same card for 30 days. I thought, okay, enough already. This is crazy. So I thought, I'll just go exercise. And I did, and I never got that card again. So just know what cards you draw, they really are connecting with you on the other side. This is not just something that's made up if you've never done this before. So I started every day drawing a card and I would get guidance and then I was starting to trust my guidance. And then I reopened my abilities up again. And so what you simply do is you draw your card, you get your message, and then follow through. Now, what I do now is that every morning I sit down and I ask my angels, God, my loved ones, and my pets, whoever's supposed to come through for me that day to guide me with what I need to do. Then, I have my to-do list, I write it down, and then I'll say around lunchtime, I'm meditating again, and I will ask them, what is it that I need to do this afternoon? And sometimes they'll say, meditate again, or eat something healthy, go for a walk, meditate, whatever it is, or you need to call someone. I live my life now by that. I listen and I take the action. Okay. So the next steps I want to suggest to you is get your little butt off that couch and get out and exercise. Now, this does not have to cost you money. You can go for a walk every day. If you've got pets, they would love to go for a walk with you right now. So exercise. And I was fortunate that before I was going through all this, while I was in the hospital having 3 feet of my intestine removed, there was a new gym being built, literally walking distance from our house. So what I did, I thought, okay, you know what? I'm going to, get organized. And I joined this gym and they had a free couple months, the trial program with a new gym. So I joined. And I started going to the gym 7 days a week because I was about to go through divorce proceedings that are not always pleasant. And I wanted to keep my stress level down. And so I started doing exercise. I absolutely love exercise. I have to do it every day. And my exercise now is I walk every day, at least one. And I have this program that I do it online. It's a 7-minute workout and it's phenomenal. And so these are the things that I do every day. So it doesn't mean I have to go to a gym now because my schedule's a lot busier. I can still fit this in and get my exercise. And I love to be out in nature. So what I did after doing these things was that I spent 5 years working on myself because I realized that I didn't know who I was because I had had so many negative people tell me stuff. And I knew that I had to find myself again. And I started reading spiritual books and I started learning how to meditate. And I took my Reiki training in there and I got my level 1 and level 2 and masters. And I thought I wanted to be able to help my pets and my children and myself to heal, just like that Reiki that I was given when I was sick with Crohn's on how. And I was able to help save one of my dogs. They had a tumor in their paw and the vet wanted to amputate his foot or his leg. And I said, no. And I did the Reiki and it took the tumor away. So all the things that I learned during this 5-year period of working on myself has really gone on to make a difference in my life as well as others. And, save my pet's leg was just such a gift for me. But I did it because I was working on myself. So I spent 5 years working on myself. And then what I discovered during that time was I didn't really love myself because I didn't like what I'd been through. And I was still believing what people told me. So the exercise that I had to do, and I want to encourage you to do this as well, I had to stand and look in front of a mirror and say 3 simple words. And those words were, I love you. Now, I couldn't do it for 3 weeks. Finally, when I was able to look myself in the eye and say, Sue, you are amazing. I love you so much. It was life-changing for me. And boy, did the tears flow, but they were healing tears. So I want to encourage you, look in the mirror. It took me 3 weeks to be able to do this. So it's not going to, for some of you, it might not happen right away. And that's okay. Just keep doing it until you can. That was a huge breakthrough for me. So the next step, what I had to do was I was guided by some friends that I had to go to Toastmasters, because when you go through abuse, you don't have confidence. You need to build up your courage and confidence and know that you're worthy of so much. So when this friend told me I had to go to Toastmasters, I thought, oh, dear God. I never had to give speeches in school because I was so fearful of speaking to anyone more than 2 people that I would throw up on teachers' desks. And I never had to do a speech all through school because there was just too many messes that had to be cleaned up after I got up to the front of the room. Amazing how this miracle is now that I talk to so many people, right? So here's another miracle that I'm showing you has happened. Anyways, what ended up unfolding around the Toastmaster situation was that I was given the sign that I had to go. And at the time, I was the president of the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation for the region. And I was the president, and I had helped a lot of people. And this one particular day, I ran into this woman, Diane, and I had helped her husband deal with colitis. And we ran into each other 7 times in that one day. Now, here's the crazy thing was, I'm asking her, this is happening for a reason. You must need something. All along, I knew that I needed the phone number for Toastmasters, but there was no way I was going to ask because I was in such a scary, fearful place around it. Finally, the 7th time we saw each other, she said, it's got to be you. What do you need? So I said to her I needed the phone number for going to the local Toastmasters club. I get home, the phone's ringing as I'm opening the front door. It's Diane. And Diane says to me, I've got the phone number for you. And I thought, shoot. So I knew I had to go. So I called the number, and then I received a call back from this really nice man. And he invited me to come out to the next meeting Tuesday after, and that he would support me. He knew I had these fears. And he said, I'll even meet you at the door and I'll be your mentor. And I thought, this is great. I'm not scared. I felt something about this guy that I felt safe and supported. So I got there, Toastmasters. I walked through the door and I looked at this man. I thought, oh my gosh, he really reminds me of my grandpa Buck. So anyways, I had gone through all of Toastmasters and going to these weekly meetings with my mentor. And then this was actually, the date was September 11th, 2001. So while all the tragedies around are happening in New York City and in the different parts, Washington and Philadelphia, and I'd spent my day sending healing to all the souls that were crossing and helping the service providers and the service pets and stuff like that that were working to do their jobs, that I I walked through that door that first night, and it was like a whole new world for me, new beginnings. And I just didn't know how big this was going to be for me. So this man, that was not September 11th, right? And October 19th, my mentor asked me out on first date. So what it unfolded was, in my mind, I'm going through, I don't want to go out with this man. I don't want to go out with anybody. I love being by myself and my dogs. This is wonderful. I don't want to deal with anyone else. I'm in a happy place. Then I started getting phone calls. What if he's Mr. Right? It's like, how did you know about this? So all the angels on the other side were guiding people to phone me to say, what if he's Mr. Right? Like 5 phone calls came in one day, let's just say. Okay. So I thought, okay, here's another sign. I better do this, right? So I accepted his offer and we went to a dinner theater. And when we were there, the play that was on was about a man having an affair. And I started to laugh. This man knew the story. And it was another sign to show me that I'd healed from my husband having an affair, having a girlfriend, and all the stuff that had happened. I thought, I'm so grateful that happened because now I'm with this beautiful soul. And I didn't know people could be like this as well as so similar to when I crossed over to the other side, but it was possible. So we were at this dinner theater and we were so connected that we both totally forgot that there was people watching a show and the show was going on. But for me, what was happening, there was us two at the table. There was an older woman sitting on the other chair, and there was an older man sitting in the other chair. So I knew the other man was my grandpa. It was my grandpa Buck. And he was so proud to let on that he had made this connection and made all these pieces unfold. And so I said to this man that if do you have a favorite person? Did you have a favorite grandparent or anything? And he said, yeah, my grandma Susie. She was an amazing woman. This was Grandma Susie sitting in the chair. So his Grandma Susie and my Grandpa Buck, my Grandpa Buck's name, Buck was his nickname. His name is Ross. The man that I was sitting in front of, his name was Ross. My grandpa and my future husband have the same name. His favorite grandma and I share the same name, Susie. Incredible. As we were talking, we discovered that we had actually lived on the same street 2 times in the same town on the same street. We did not know that. Talk about like paths crossing, right? I would later learn that in many lifetimes, after having past life regression done, that we had actually been together in many lifetimes as well. And so that was crazy. So when you have this connection with somebody, you do have a past. So like ask all these questions when you meet people because it was just incredible. And so then what happened as we were getting to know each other, this is October 19th, we had our first date. And I started to watch my dog, Rocky. His health started going downhill. Finally, on December 1st, Rocky knew that he had found his replacement, my future husband, Ross. And Ross was right at my side as, I was kissing Rocky for the final time after he took his last breath. And I knew that Rocky had found his replacement, the man that he would only cross because he was so comfortable with this man. And my other dog, Molly, that, she had been abused by a man. And up until Ross, she would cower down and pee on every man's feet. Ross was the only man that she never peed on. And so when my younger daughter saw that, she goes, Mommy, I don't know who this man is, but you need to marry him. That was the first comment she said. So you see all the signs around how, we get guided to know who the right people are. So anyways, we went on and we did get married. And in fact, this specific week, we are celebrating our 20th wedding anniversary. And we have been together for 22 years. We will be in Greece in June and on a cruise, and we're going to be renewing our vows. We like to do new things together. We go on new adventures, and we don't take each other for granted. And the one thing that I learned from past experience being my practice husband, let's call him, was that you don't take people for granted. If you're in a relationship, you want to, how do we say it? You want to make sure you tell them how much you love them, how much you appreciate them. If there's something wrong, you need to communicate that with a person and let it, holding it in and letting it carry on and burying, getting deeper and rebuilding to resent. You need to value each other. And I can tell you that Ross and I write each other love notes. I hide them in his lunches. He'll hide them somewhere on me. We value each other. And that is what a relationship should be about, appreciating and loving somebody. Ross doesn't introduce me as his wife. He introduces me as his adventure because he doesn't know what we're going to do next. And if you've been at any of my speaking events and you see this man standing at the side of the stage, when I say that, my dog found his replacement, and that Ross is my dog's replacement, you will see Ross stand up and go, yes, I am the dog's replacement. And at first he didn't like it, but many people said her dogs were everything to her and that you need to know this is a big honor for her and for her dogs that you are filling that role. So he understands it now after it took a while for him to understand after many people told him that. But the point I want to say to you is I've shared what I went through in my past. I shared the tools that I used, and I shared that. I'm sure you can see it on my face. I'm just so happy and so grateful that I have such an amazing man at my side. And I could not have done that if I didn't work on myself first. You need to be loving yourself before you can get into a place where you have a vibration within you to attract the positive, like-minded, loving people. So that's what I want to encourage you to work on. So this has been a bit longer for our episode, and I wanted to encourage you to know that it's okay to not just sit back and accept what's not healthy for you physically, emotionally, or mentally. So use my words, take strength from that. Know that you are such an amazing, incredible person, and miracles and magic surround us every day of our life. And when you become aware and open and watch for the signs and the messages people tell you, you will have an incredible journey ahead of you. I love you. I support you. I encourage you to do these changes. And I also encourage you that if you've got any questions that you want to have addressed from a loved one, or maybe there's a question or you want a message from a loved one, a pet or an angel, go in that description below and follow the step that, where it says to send your details. And I am certainly be honored to share those details for you on a future upcoming show. So I hope that something that I have said to you today will help you along your journey. You are an amazing person that has such a beautiful soul, and I don't ever want you to forget that. So shine your bright light and live in your greatness. Now, I think that's wrapped everything up. Oh, I just want to share one more thing that a lot of people have been sharing that they like my shorts that I've been doing, these short videos. So I want to encourage you, go on those details below because you'll see that on YouTube, youtube.com/at Ask Sue London. You'll see the details that you can subscribe, and every Monday and every Friday, the shorts come in there. And those messages are guided from the other side, just like my show is, on what the topic has to be, what I have to share. So there's been a lot of amazing things that are happening for people from them, and I don't want you to miss out on that. Now, if you want to learn more about me, my products, my services, I want to encourage you to go to asksuelondon.ca. And this week, I'm in a summit, Making Miracles Happen Pet Summit. The details are below as well, where you can sign up. I am giving a talk on pets crossing over and sharing amazing story about what I experienced with my dog Gussie and what your pets would experience. And you also have a special opportunity to work with me for me to help you to connect with your pet. So check out those details below. And That's it for today. So I hope something that I have said will help you along your journey. I'm Sue London, and I want to wish you much love and many blessings.